Against opioids, an epidemic, and last week he invited many of those fighting that battle to the White House to talk about it.
One of those people is Dane County Sheriff Dave Mahoney, who joins us now to share his thoughts about what happened. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Adam. Danica, it's good to join you and your viewers.
Tell us your thoughts kind of on, I mean, you meet with the president to talk about opioids. It's something that Dane County is struggling with right now.
This was the second visit that the National Sheriff's Association had with President Trump. Again, to talk about our priorities as we move into 2018. Yeah. And one of those is the opioid epidemic that is impacting every community across our country. Right here in Dane County, 12 to 15 overdoses a week because of the propensity of the addiction of opiates.
We're talking about 2 a day.
Particularly heroin.
Yeah, that's 2 a day when you break down those numbers. Yeah. That's unbelievable.
What can you do? I mean, what were some of the things talked about? Well,
starting with the prominence of prescription painkillers, and making that more difficult, because as our deputies and police officers are talking to overdose victims, everyone started out with a prescription painkiller that got out of control and eventually moved to a cheaper heroin epidemic. And so there was discussion about, addressing it from the pharmaceutical standpoint, but also more programs to address treatment within our jail, within our prisons, within our community. The access to treatment really is a success at this point.
Another topic I know that you talked with the president about is mental health, and I think this subject is becoming even more and more prominent after, unfortunately, what we saw in Florida last week. Mental health, the president himself mentioned it on multiple occasions that was a major issue. What were those discussions like, and what are your hopes for the future there?
Well, we talked about the prevalence of mental health in our jails, and the fact that our nation's sheriffs have now become the custodians of the largest mental health institutions in our country. And it really began back when we deinstitutionalized the mentally ill, pushed them back into our communities with never being able to fund those programs. Well, today it's come to roost, and we've asked on behalf of the nation's 3,000 sheriffs, the president and his administration to step up and provide the programs that get the mentally ill out of our jails, housed in proper facilities, and get them the treatment that they need.
While we have you here, we wanted to ask you about that school shooting last week in Florida, and something, I mean, I know this is something that you all have been prepared for, and it's important to share that Dane County Sheriff's Department is offering active shooter training. I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about that and your thoughts about what happened.
Yeah. It is such a priority that a year ago I dedicated 2 staff members full-time. That's all they do, is to go out into the community, to our schools, to our religious, faith-based community, to our businesses, and to public sector, to talk about what to do in the face of an active shooter. You have to do something, whether it's to run, whether it's to hide, whether it's to fight. And we've seen examples of each all across our country, and now again in Parkland, Florida, we see another instance where mentally ill individual got access to a high-capacity semi-automatic rifle and killed 17 fellow students. The biggest tragedy, and we hear it over and over in these instances, is this: people say, I knew that he was going to do this, and law enforcement wasn't notified.
If people want access to that information, they can just go find that training. They can go find it on your website, right?
On our website, and I think right now we're booked into May, but
I believe it.
We evaluate every one of the requests, and we'll respond as quickly as we can.
All right.
Thank you for waking
Sheriff.
up.
It's good to see you this morning. We appreciate it.
6:38 right now. It is an alert day in the forecast with freezing rain, ice, even rumbles of thunder possibly moving in later on.
And if you want to find out what went on before last night's NBA All-Star game, just go to Twitter and search the word Fergie. We'll show you what's setting the internet on fire this morning next on News 3 This Morning.
Wild Easttown Honda, Wisconsin's Honda Dealer of the Year, has winter savings on over 300 new Hondas. Lease a Civic for $119. Imagine a new Honda for only $119 at Wild Easttown Honda in Madison. Student Day.